Blessings, luminous souls. Welcome back. Infinite light to you. I am the White Forest Sage. Let's step into the forest together. It looks like we already have the devil out. So we are talking about cycles where we feel trapped, controlled, puppeted. But the thing about the devil, at least in the original Rider-Waite tarot, is that you're never trapped, nor are you ever fully being puppeted. It's an illusion. Everything that you need to know about how to get out, you already do, should you decide to look it directly in the face. And you have to pardon me as I'm still trying to figure out how we want to do this setup, what we want to get going. Now this is the thing that's interesting. So we have the Queen of Cups. So let me just show you the cards that were out so far. We have the Devil, and I'm using the Light Workers deck. And then we had the Queen of Cups. So what I'm seeing from these two cards is that the way to release yourself from what feels like a form of control is to offer heart, compassion, and patience and love to yourself. I know sometimes when we're going through times like this, as the world, as a collective, it can feel as if taking time for yourself is selfish. But you'd be surprised how focusing on yourself can actually make a lot more of the things come in that you want. So we then had the Seven of Pentacles. Oops. Maybe it wants to be right side up. We then had the Seven of Pentacles right side up or reversed. So I guess for some of you it's reversed and for some of you it's right side up. So essentially what this is planting the seeds to work on yourself to grow the abundance that you want, right? In contrast, it might be seen in the negative. So either neglecting to do that or needing to focus more on internal seeds. So how many times when you were younger did the younger version of you need the version of who you are right now to help out? To me, this already seems to be making kind of a storyline here where the true cycle is not seeing the abundance. So you have three cups that might be empty, and yet a whole nother universe here on the side of the Four of Cups that's not being seen, not being taken advantage of. And again, it's the cups. So what that tells me is that there is, and I just want you to see the light work here. The cup you don't see in the physical is the cup that you need to give to yourself. So now we're getting into manifestation and shit like that. But basically, time is an illusion, okay? There is no past, there is no present, there is no future. It's all one. And so there is a way, and I can give a little bit more information on this a bit later, but there is a way to heal the past from where you currently are and make the future clearer. So in the midst of all of that, what I'm seeing here is the new framing that you need in order to see this blessing, in order to see the type of love and healing that you're able to give to yourself, is about the way that you're thinking. Be a king of swords. Half the time, half the battle that we go through is not... How would I put this? Couple of things. So there was a time in my life where I was extremely depressed, and I sought therapy. I then began to realize that sometimes in the background, I just had these things going on that I was saying about myself. And so there came a point where I said, well, if I want to feel better, even if it doesn't make any sense, even if it feels stupid, anytime I hear or catch one of those negative ideas, I'm going to say at least 2 or 3 things positively. And I was going to fake it till I make it. And for me, that worked. It doesn't work for everyone. I'm not a doctor. But what I will say is I have heard that the brain doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. So when you say, I don't have, your brain doesn't know the difference. It's clocking that as a part or some type of reality. So you really have to be careful about what you say, because we're in this moment in the world, eight of wands, where a lot of the things that you think about can almost instantaneously show up in your life. Now, I'm not saying you're going to say, I want $1,000,000, and then it's there. First of all, you shouldn't be saying, I want. You should be saying, I already have. But it's telling me that there are aspects of the ways of pain that you had from the past that are requiring for a current compassion in order to bring in the types of changes that you want to see more clearly, more quickly. And it also looks like, and I'm just taking this from messages that I've received, that there is a part that's required of you really sitting down with yourself now and write down, sit down, meditate, do what you need to do to really figure out what it is that you want. It feels as if, you've not been able to really decide between all the things that you want. So the Eight of Pentacles would be, look at all of these things that I have. But being upside down, it just gives me this feeling as if you don't necessarily know what it is that you desire going forward. And oddly, that's what's actually slowing you down. So as opposed to trying to do everything at once, slow down, take a minute. Remember what it felt like as a kid. You didn't necessarily want to do everything, but you kind of knew what you wanted to do. Okay, now some of us are different, and some of us had a big-ass imagination, and some of us really had no idea, no fucking clue. We just did everything. That's definitely probably true. However, what this is asking for now is there is a gateway, there is an opportunity that if you truly focus in on yourself, if you truly imagine what it's like to reparent yourself. If there are moments that you have, and I know we all have them, where you can go back and say, I remember, for instance, I remember what it was like when I had been performing like at a school thing or whatever, and I had done perfectly every time, and then when it actually came down to when there's judges and things are happening, I bombed it and destroyed it, and we definitely didn't win. And I just felt bad about that for years later. Now, granted, I kind of don't care now, but it's important for us to still allow ourselves to not just feel the emotions, but act as that parent who reassures the kid, the younger version of yourself, to get up, right? Imagine how much heart you can give to yourself, because you, better than anyone else, know what you need. Now, sometimes it's true, we don't know what we need, but that's only because you're thinking about it here. If you really sit and feel in your body, take a moment and know that you're safe. Then once you get to that equilibrium where you feel that, okay, I'm good, I have blessings, I have shoes, I have food, I have water, from that starting place where a lot of your ancestors might not have had that shit, what does love look like for you? And I think it's really important in these times to understand we're moving from the age of Capricorn and a lot of earthly entanglements to what would it mean to be that spiritual person, or to not even just be that spiritual person, to follow your instinct and spirit, whatever that is. How would your heart feel more fulfilled if that actually means doing something completely different than you've done ever? Then, astrologically speaking, this actually is a good week to take that step. So it feels as if there is some pain from the past, but you have a lot of influence around right now that can help you to break through these chains. And the reason I'm saying that, hold on, Let me actually try to grab the ones, because the cards have been flying out today. So this would be being trapped in a form of not seeing blessings. The break, or the way to get through that, would be through heart energy. Once you finally can tune into forgiveness and acceptance and allowing, permitting, surrendering, then things can kind of come in. And if they're not actual things, the energy is coming to you quickly. And as that energy comes to you, as long as you're still thinking practically, grounded in a way that is structured, then you can begin to drop the burden and actually know intuitively what you want. So the other thing about this card is there is the symbol of the moon. So the moon in astrology represents us. It represents the true soul of us. For those of you who may know, there is the north node and the south node. So in this life, your objective is to take the blessings from the last life, the south node, and apply those in a way to grow and expand into the north node. Key thing being, because you already have gifts of the south node, don't do those too much. You can do that over what you need to do. And the north node will allow for you to do that in a balanced way, as long as you go forward without committing bad karma. Anyway, the point being, this card seems to be where the focus is, along with the one right before it being the Seven of Pentacles. So it's all about deep inner work, or at least planting those things, not necessarily knowing if they're going to grow. And then, naturally, you'll be able to better understand what is for you, what's not for you. Because the thing about the moon being as those pentacles is everything's about ebb and flow, and the moon is the body that teaches us about intuition. So long story short, it's about listening in a way. It's about tapping into that heart energy in a way. It's use the feminine energy to feel and know what you want, and execute it, meaning take the practical steps with masculine, grounded energy. Not being an ass, but calm, slow, and steady. Let me get some clarification. So there also was the Page of Pentacles. That's what that was. So the Page of Pentacles reverse also came out. And this tells me it's also still related to the child. So all the pages represent a kid, right? So Page of Swords would be like having a childlike way of thinking. Page of Wands would be like play, right? Just doing. The wands are action, the swords are thoughts, the pentacles are actual things or material realm things, and then the cups are emotions. So in a tangible way, there is something that you've wanted to do, even if it's just a hobby, that will tap into that child. The thing the child does, whether that's getting into yoga, or if that is dancing in the woods or the rain. A lot of this looks like and this one also popped up. The Six of Wands. A lot of this child healing will actually be the thing that kind of gets this ball rolling. Because the Six of Wands is success. So going back over everything. Somewhere along the path, the kid was hurt, okay? That created some type of karma, some type of traumatic loop, some type of habit, right? You'll need to take some time to slow down, recenter, and then from there, you can move forward. It oddly doesn't feel like there's a lot holding you back right now. I can imagine that could be some emotional things that could be holding you back. Those are always under there, but okay, never mind. I asked and I got the answer. So the thing holding back is a lack mentality. The kid probably thinks that it's never going to happen. The kid in you right now still is probably thinking it's not going to happen. Maybe that's for a practical reason. Maybe like it literally is like, how the fuck am I going to be a millionaire if I'm for some reason that's what my soul is calling me for. So, it still needs to be aligned with what you as a person are passionate about. People don't necessarily make a whole lot of money doing things they hate. Well, some people do. Let's be honest, some people do. But in this new era, being authentically you is what is going to take you from this lack mentality and bring about some fire back into your life. Because the truth of the matter is... Oh, wow, these are really coming out today. You kind of just keep going back over old thoughts. It is these old thoughts that keep you returning to the past over and over again. So I was actually just talking to my partner about this. Sometimes we can, how would I put this? Let's say that you have a fear of heights and you still get on the airplane, right? While you may think that you've addressed the fear, you might just be bypassing it. Meaning the wound is still there, you just suck it up, and then you land and you're like, okay, until the next time. It's never actually addressed that maybe when you were a kid, something scary happened on a plane, or your parents, something happened there and they were scared and they didn't comfort you. Sometimes it's about regrounding in the present, realizing the safety you have, and sending that safety back. You know, you here today is because of all of the yous from every yesterday that you've ever known were strong enough. And they deserve to be told that they are enough. You deserve to be told you're enough. And you don't have to remain sad about the things that didn't work out. Because if you're breathing right now, and I know, like, this might get a little cliche, but no matter what level of pain you're in, there is more than likely someone on this planet in a worse position than you are, especially if you're watching my YouTube video. And that actually sometimes, like in yogic tradition, is used not as a cop-out, not as a way to say be grateful. It's true in the realms of karma. It means that if you have a body that is able, it means that if you have a voice, if you have food on your table, then you have some advantage. You have something that you can be proud of. And if you've overcome things that you just thought you couldn't, it's important that you parent yourself as well and applaud yourself for that. But, okay, the reason that this is all coming out right now is we are at a point where important choices are needing to be made about different timelines that are available to everyone, about different avenues to happiness, or the lack thereof, but also knowing everything's a cycle anyway. And so it's important to choose wisely. Choosing wisely means that we need more of our intuition. That's why it was the Seven of Cups. And the best way to do that is tapping into what success, what is that called? What a celebration would be like. So even if you don't feel like you're celebrating now, take a moment and dream about what that would be. Think back to the kid that you were, and I'm sorry if some of the trauma is in childhood, then find a happy memory. Find the white seed. Find the light that you can use as inspiration to guide you forward. Because it seems as if for those that don't actually... I don't know why this is happening this way. It seems as if for those who don't actually do it, who don't take that time to find their heart, see it right there, and they're going to miss out on some of the abundance that's coming from the universe. And you wouldn't want to do that because that'll be stabbing yourself in the back. Ten of Swords. And another page. Page of Swords. Okay. Let me look at this last card that came out too. King of Cups. Alright, so we've had a lot of upside down pages. That means all the kids have been hurt and they are bad little assholes. Okay? And I can see at the heart of this, so if I go back to our original Queen of Cups, what we have here, if masculine energy is often about action and feminine energy is often about receptivity, we all have both. When this pair is not aligned, we have some problems. That means we intuitively know what we should be doing, where the issue is, but we're deliberately emotionally blackmailing people or holding things over people. And that is the devil. That is a negative pattern there. That is the hurt people type thing. So even if intuitively you know, you're still keeping someone else trapped just because it might make your ego good. So we want to turn that upside right. And as you can see, both of these people are meditating. And this is at the center of our message here, that it's time to take some time in silence. We have way too many distractions that are vying for our energy, vying for our time and our dopamine. So it seems as if the biggest thing is center, write down the things that you want, and take small, if not just a few steps to make them happen. One of the things about habits that's really important is it's not necessarily about if you want to read a book to finish a chapter every day. What would actually be proven to do a better job is make a note to align it with one of your already habits that you have. So for instance, right after you brush your teeth at night, you're going to read one page of the book. It may seem small, but those atomic habits, those bite-sized habits, actually are more approachable, meaning you're more likely to do them. And over time, that's when you can get to, oh, I'm reading a chapter a day, as an example. And reading a book can be the type of thing that you want to do for yourself going forward. So, in conclusion, it seems as if whoever this message is for, it is important for you to meditate, sense into your body when you're doing that meditation, and find where the tension, the pain, the heaviness, the blockage is. And then what I would suggest is, based on where that is located, so there's the 7 chakras, there's also the minor points. I would suggest kind of look up where that is in the body, see what kind of memories are attached to that, and how to release. You may actually find that if you, let's say your shoulder hurts, a specific shoulder, and you are breathing into it, breathe into it, and ask, what are you needing? What are you holding? What can you release? When would you release it? Those 4 questions are quite powerful, and you keep asking them until you get an answer. If it takes multiple days, where you're like, okay, I didn't get any answer, it still could be the type of thing that gives you the clarity to help out these kids that need a little bit of direction. And once you've gotten clear on those kids, because that's where all of our ideas come from, then if you take the small steps, the rest will align and be on its way to you. So I'm just going to see if there's any other messages. That was quite a lot of cards that I didn't expect to come out, but I guess sometimes that's just how it works. I'm also just trying to figure out my setup and how we want to do this. On the last page. The last page also. Okay, you know what? I got to show you this. Okay. So we have there. This is the one thing about not doing it on the table that sucks. So we have the Page of Wands reversed. We have the Page of Pentacles reversed. We have the Page of Swords reversed. Did we get the Page of Cups? That might be the one page that we didn't get. But we did get they mama and daddy. We did get the Queen and King of Cups. So long story short, the seed of this has to do with the negative thoughts, the ways that can lead to negative actions, and negative outcomes, negative situations, because of some traumas, some things that really hurt from the past. It doesn't even have to be complete childhood, but some way that the innocent part of you, the adventurous, the curious part of you, went a little negative, and that's okay. It happens to all of us. But the key of how you can move forward is sending backwards in time and being okay in the present. And then once that blockage is cleared, you can figure out more easily what you need. And everybody's going to be at a different part of the journey with this. And some people might not need all those steps. But that's kind of the main message that I've got here. Any closing messages? And sorry if I was repeating myself quite a bit. Yeah, this is all about planning your future. It's the lack of planning that will make you take some negative actions. So, slow down. Moving a little bit too fast in some cases. Is there anything else that you can tell us that would believe the sun will come out? Believe that you have a direct link to it through your heart space. Gosh, I don't know why there are so many messages that want to come out today. Yeah, slow and steady wins the race. And that's the truth. Slow and steady wins the race. And then you'll get what you want. Okay, so I also have this other deck called the Chimera. And so these are, well, multiple anthropomorphized animals that can sometimes tell us what kind of energy we need to embody in order to best move forward. So you can call on this animal to help you should you need. And I haven't used them quite as often as I'd like, so I will be reading from the book. But I'm assuming this is the butterfly. So, the butterfly, number 2. In the past, it used to crawl and survive. But thanks to that contact with Mother Earth, it was able to learn and evolve. Through sacrifice and toil, it conquered each time the form it most needed to achieve its aspiration. The meaning? Fulfilling goals requires resilience. This card is a reminder that any change is possible by sacrificing something. In this case, let go of the resentments. You don't have to play that role anymore. You don't have to keep protecting yourself like that, in that way. There is a more balanced way to get to the same place you're trying to go. And that's it. I will go ahead and add a ritual to the video. But if you like these, please like, share, and subscribe. I am going to just keep making them every Monday. We'll just go from there, okay? So, with that, may your path be clear and your spirit steady. Until next time, walk gently, stay open, and trust your light.